Hello, and welcome to the Hypno Travelers on the Magical Psyche Highway podcast. That's right. Your host and tour guide is Scott Prevett, a healer, hypnotist, and a magician. And your bus driver is Jason Gobelli, also a hypnotist, an entrepreneur, and a spiritual guide. Disclaimer, neither Jason, Scott, or any of our guests here today are licensed professional psychologists or psychiatrists. So please don't make any changes to any medication or treatments that you are currently on based on the conversation that you hear here today. Just hop on the bus and enjoy the ride. Trip with us on the Inner Revelation bus. That's right.
Hi, I'm Jason, and welcome back to the Hypno Travelers on the Magical Psyche Highway. We are excited. We got a great guest today, don't we, Scott?
Heck yes, we're excited.
We got Connie Jo Holmes. Connie, how are you?
I am great. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited for today.
Oh, we're excited. We're excited too. We're excited to be traveling down your magical psyche highway. So let's have our first question. Who are you and what do you do?
Who am I? I am Connie Jo Holmes, and I'm the founder of BU2BFULL Hypnosis and Coaching. And in that capacity, I really teach individuals how to confidently and courageously move from reacting to life to owning your life. And I do that in a variety of ways. And I do that really through hypnosis, through coaching, life coaching, as well as health coaching, some NLP in there as well, and a variety of other tools that I've gathered along that highway, as you say.
Nice, nice. So, Connie, you say you've gathered a lot of other tools. Talk to us about it. What are these things that you're putting together and what makes you unique?
Mm. Well, I think one thing that makes me unique is, one, my energy and my spirit. We all have our own energy and spirit, but, we also know that's why some people are attracted to different people and that type of thing. So I like to say well, one other way that I'm unique, I guess, is that I do have 30 years of corporate experience. And so I do bring that to every single thing that I do. As an example of that, right now I'm running a master class on strategic planning, on writing a strategic plan for your business. And I know some people might yawn because that sounds pretty boring, but yet that's where I'm mixing my corporate with the entrepreneurial spirit, but yet bringing to it a certain level of energy and that type of thing.
Well, Connie, we don't think it's boring at all. So
Some people do a strategic plan. What is that?
that was my next question. What is that?
Well, I'm going to tell you, those people that work with a strategic plan, because any big corporation, they've got a strategic plan. They have to. But a lot of solopreneurs and small businesses, they don't have a strategic plan. And to me, that makes all the difference in the world. We need to know, where the heck are we going? How are we going to know when we get there? But it's very, very visionary. So that's why a lot of hypnotherapists, they can relate to it, because it is all about that future pacing and what is that ideal vision that we have for ourselves, for our business. But yet it's putting it to life on a piece of paper and coupling it with a following year action plan. Okay, all this big beauty is great and excites me, but all right, how are we going to get there? What's that first mile on our beautiful journey that we're taking?
So does that mean you're on the corporate speaker circuit? The corporate speaker circuit?
I definitely do work with corporations. I do have a corporate client out of Tampa, Florida, and I do give a variety of different talks, whether I'm a keynote presenter. I actually just gave a keynote presentation to the Rock County Realtors Association. It was all about mindset and productivity. But I do go to different small businesses, or any kind of business really, and provide workshops, whether it's on emotional intelligence, leadership at any level, those types of things. And I really enjoy that kind of work.
Nice. Nice. So, Connie, you got the corporate stuff going on. You got all this other stuff going on. My question for you is now, when did you have that first aha moment that, you know what, I'm really going to be able to make a difference and help people? I mean, when did that come in? How was that coming? How did that come about?
That's a great question. And probably like anyone who gets into this type of work, you were probably that person in your family or your friend circle that people just naturally went to. You just had this natural rapport with people. And because of that, people will come to you and say, hey, can I ask you some questions? Or, hey, I've got this dilemma. What do you think? And so I definitely was always that person in my space. And even though I loved corporate America, I really did. I knew that before I exited this earth, I needed something for me that was truly my own. And to me, that was creating a business. And then when I was at the point where I knew I wanted to do that, I was like, well, what do I do? And so that's when the life coaching came in, because that was a very natural entry point for me. And so I did that exclusively for a few months, and it was good, but it just wasn't enough. And then that was when I discovered hypnosis, and that's when I added hypnosis to my repertoire, if you will. And then that's been a game changer ever since.
Nice, dealing with the unconscious mind. So talk about this for a second. So your life, you've done a lot of things. You've been corporate, you got hypnosis, you got all these things together. Who are your mentors? Who are your guides that have led you along the way and that you follow?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I am a YouTube whore. Can I say that on screen?
Yes, did. Let's go.
Just meaning I'm always I'm the YouTube university. I'm just always finding all these different channels and different people and things like that. So along the way, just listening to different people and running the gamut from, actually, you want to know somebody who I first started listening to. Leo is his name. What the hell am I, what is his ah, I don't listen to him anymore, but he was a real inspiration for me at the beginning. I'll think of his podcast here in a moment. But I started listening to, some of the, like, I know, obviously Joe Dispenza and Tony Robbins and stuff like that. But believe it or not, I don't listen to their stuff too much. I was kind of listening to some unknown people that actually really inspired me quite a bit, and I enjoyed that a lot. And it had like different perspectives of things, not totally mainstream within this unmainstream world that we live in with coaching and hypnosis, I feel.
Nice. Scott, you have a question you want to throw out there?
So let's flip the switch a little bit and go to the other side of what you do. Tell us a little bit about that.
What other side exactly?
There could be caves involved. There might be shaman stuff going on.
Yes, yes, yes. So yes, with that, so I have been so lucky. I have only been in my town for 2.5 years, but you would think I've been here for 25 years, because I have really surrounded myself with just this wonderful population. And it runs the gamut from, other corporate people to small business owners to, people who are very rich in the shaman traditions. So a couple of examples of that. There's actually a sweat lodge that I was introduced to about a year, 18 months ago, and I absolutely love that. There's a medicine man that runs it, and that has been wonderful for me, both just internally. It's been a lot of moments of growth for me, which has been great. And then I met somebody through there who does a once a month grandmother moon ceremony, very, very rich in the Native American tradition. So I'm enjoying that a lot. Also doing some retreats, whether they're overnight retreats or day-long retreats with some plant medicine and things like that. So yeah, I do feel when I talk out loud sometimes, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm glad I have 10 digits, because I have a digit in every spot, I feel.
So these retreats, are you putting them on? Or are you going to other people's retreats?
So with that latter part that I talked about, a little bit of both, a little bit of both. So I just experimented with that for the first time 2 years ago, and I was very scared. I was very, very scared. I was that child in grade school that when we saw those anti-drug commercials or little movies or whatever, they scared me straight. They really, really did. And so I was very nervous to do anything that was mind altering. But I ended up meeting a nice close group of people, and I thought my curiosity allowed me to step into that direction. And it was very, very profound, extremely profound. And so then after I experienced that a couple of times myself, I wanted to be on the other end of facilitating. And that's been very rewarding as well. Being there at that moment that people have some major breakthroughs. I mean, I definitely get that when people are in my hypnosis chair as well, but doing it with another modality, I'll call it, is very fun and rewarding as well.
So what do those retreats look like? And do you have another one coming up?
In January, yes. What do they look like? It's very rooted in tradition, very much so. The person that I'm working with, she has a lot of shaman training, and so she brings a lot of that to the table, meaning that we have a very sacred space that we're creating. We create that sacred circle, and really open up that space for everybody to be in communion with each other for that whole time. We all set our intentions. We have an altar that is there. People can bring something to the altar if they want, whether it's a picture, a crystal, whatever it might be. Very, very much rooted in some ceremony, I'll call it. And then it's really just everyone gathering at the very beginning, setting our intentions and sharing our intentions as a group, and then partaking, and then everyone experiences it differently. I know with me, I need to cocoon. I want to curl up and cocoon, and no one talk to me. I don't want any outside noise. I just want to go with them. Some people, they want to have conversation and have music and watch things and stuff like that. So because of that, there's different rooms that people can go into. And then sometimes people need some support with maybe breaking through a wall or something like that, and then that's where I come in and really help them, and that has been the most rewarding. And then once it all kind of starts to settle down a little bit, and the medicine is wearing off, if you will, then we'll have a meal together, just a light, very healthy meal together. But then that's our opportunity to share. And so those people that have these experiences together are usually very bonded, because it's quite a profound experience together.
So I noticed you use the words altar and ceremony and intention. So is this a spiritual thing based off of a God or what have you?
Not necessarily. It's more probably very earthy, Father Sky, Mother Earth, all within that type of belief system.
Nice.
Yeah.
And does that align with your magical highway? Is that where you're at in your belief system?
Yes. Yeah. It's funny. It's funny you asked that question, because this right here just popped into my head as like a flowy little thought just yesterday, as a matter of fact. So it's funny you're asking me that. I was thinking about me and my background, because I grew up going to church. I grew up as in a Methodist church. And then when I was a young adult, I kind of altered between Methodist and youth Lutheran, and going to church periodically. Although I haven't gone to a traditional church in quite some time now, I definitely believe in God. I talk out loud every day to God. But yet I'm very, I don't want to say but, and I'm also though very connected to, I'm going to say one, and whether, so the Native American tradition, as I understand it, and as I've been exposed to it, that resonates with me greatly, as far as, Father Sky, Mother Earth, that type of thing. And at the end of the day, everything I'm rattling off here, to me, it represents purity of heart and intention, and just a collective love for ourselves and others includes plants and animals and all of that beautiful stuff.
Connie, what's all this other stuff all about?
Yes. So during my time of saying yes to everything, another thing that I do locally here, and I do it for a couple of reasons, because once I moved to my new city and state, I was all about collaborating. not only from meeting friends because I'm new here, but also to grow my business. And so I actually have a few examples of collaboration. So I'm lucky in that my town I live in, we have a salt spa. And so I go there once a month and I provide different healing hypnosis in the salt cave. And so during my time of being there, we've experimented with different things, anxiety and different things like that. But I ended up doing a break the sugar addiction. Well, that one was a home run. The seats were packed every time and that type of thing. So that is something that I've been doing at the Salt Cave, which has been really, it's a great example of collaboration and how it's a win-win for everybody. Another collaboration that I did, and you guys are welcome to steal these two ideas because they were great. I ended up partnering with a local artist. And so what we did was I did a past life regression. I facilitated that. And then since she's an artist, she had, everybody's blank canvases, like all on the easels ready to go. As soon as we were done with the past life regression, then people went over to the canvas and they painted a picture or words, it was free flow, whatever they wanted to do, that captured and represented their experience with their past life. But then we also did another one, and I'm going to be very honest, I actually liked this one better. We ended up doing a future life progression. So, as the hypnotist, I led a future life progression. And then once we were done with that, then all of the participants made their way to the blank canvas, and then they created a a piece of art based off of what they experienced. And so I like to say it was almost like a new spin put on a vision board party. So that was pretty darn
That's
cool.
very
That
cool.
was a fun one.
That does sound like fun.
Yeah, yeah. And one other bit of things that I do as well is I was it was a cold call that I received. It was from somebody who extended an addiction recovery center. It's called Wis Hope. And so he was expanding and he was going to be in a neighboring town by me. So he was calling around to different people to see if somebody would come in and teach mindfulness and meditation and that type of thing. So he called me out of the blue and I ended up striking up a conversation with him. And I was really interested in what he was doing at his facility. And so for the past 18 months, I go there once a week and I provide mindfulness mastery classes. And so I end every night with a guided meditation. But, with people who are recovering from addiction, there's so many ways that you can tackle mindfulness. I teach them breath work. I teach them how to understand their emotions, how to process their emotions. We talk about fear. We talk about just so many different things. And that's been a pretty darn rewarding thing for me that I've enjoyed doing. But I do have to say, even though all of those things are rewarding, I've been doing them for, coming up on 2 years. And those are examples of me saying yes to absolutely everything. But as I've been doing my strategic plan, some things I'm going to start saying no to. And it's not that that work isn't still great. It's just an opportunity, because when we say no to something, we give someone else the opportunity to say yes. So I'm viewing it that way. Now someone else can maybe come in and do those things. So now I can really hunker down and focus on these goals that I have to start to deepen my legs that I have, to have even more depth with my business so that I can really scale it, so that I can reach those financial goals, so that I can become philanthropic.
One more question here, and then we'll let Scott have another one. I wanted to ask you, so today, looking today, and you saw yourself then going to the churches and being who you were, what words of advice would you give your younger self?
From where I am now to looking
Yes.
back at the young
Yes.
girl going to the Lutheran or Methodist church?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's a great question. And my immediate feeling, because I feel, and then I have just like quick little glimpses that come in. So what I felt and then saw was like little me in that church pew, and just saying what you're feeling here in church, it is a form of love. You're feeling it in your heart, and trust what that is. Feel into that and know what that love feeling is, but also know that you don't need to be sitting in this pew every Sunday to feel it, to share it, to experience it. And although this is your foundation of, oh, I have goosebumps saying this, although this is your foundation of where you're feeling it, your mind is going to expand and you can take this every single place you walk on this earth.
Nice. Come on, Scott.
So let's flip that back around. I like flipping things. Can you tell? So 10 years from now, when you look back, what do you hope that you see? What do you see that you've accomplished?
Mm. You guys have some good questions. I love it. Okay, so 10 years from now, I am going to be 64 and a half. And what the hell does that even, whoo, like, how is that even possible? And it's not an age thing, but it is just like, I feel like I was born yesterday and not with wisdom, but just with how time flies. I feel like I was born yesterday. So it's like, how am I 54 right now? I just can't even comprehend that. So I'm mind blown for just a moment. Give me a moment to collect my thoughts, thinking, wow, 64
Sure.
and a half years of age is just 10 years from now. I might have to go throw up and I'll come back. No. Okay, all of that delaying the answer. Because I am mind blown for just a moment here. Can you tell? So when I think about me 10 years from now, looking back right here at this moment, I would like to say that I know that I am going to have left an impact in small everyday moments. Hopefully some big ones too. I mean, I'm human. I have an ego as well. Hopefully it's shrunken over time, and some plant medicine. Hopefully it's shrunken, but it's still always there. I think it's, as long as we're breathing, I think our ego is going to be there to some degree. But anyways, so, I mean, I do have some desires for some big moments of some awareness, being the catalyst for awareness for others. But quite honestly, I just know in my heart that it's those everyday little moments and details. I remember reading a story or watching probably a YouTube channel about a near-death experience. And I'll never forget this. This woman said that during her near-death experience, how, they say that you kind of review your timeline and that type of thing. And, when you hear people say that who've had an NDE, you believe that it's going to be those big moments, like those big challenging moments in your life. And she said it wasn't. She said she was able to see, I have goosebumps again. She was able to see all those moments that she held the door for that elderly lady at the, walking into the office building, the time that someone dropped something and she stopped and picked it up and handed it to them. She said it was all of those very small everyday moments that was her flashback when she saw her timeline. And it told her just how important those little everyday details are. And so I do know I cover that area pretty well, and probably even more so after hearing that story. But I would like to reflect back and think that I hope to have a lot of those every day, not just one a day, but many a day.
So, Connie, let's circle back. Do you have a strategic plan to get there?
I do. So my strategic plan, okay, I have a big financial goal, but the financial goal is because I have a lot of ambition to become a philanthropist. I already have an anonymous postcard. I wrote this probably 3 years ago for one of the recipients of this boatloads of money that I plan to share. So I do have a goal for that. But really, at the end of the day, my company name is BU2BFULL. And my mission is in my company name. I want to teach individuals how to accept themselves. It scares me to think about how many people are roaming this earth who don't like themselves. They don't accept something about themselves, but to realize that accepting yourself where you are right now is the very first step to your change, to evolve into that person that you aspire to be, and loving yourself all along the way because when you do that, you can really step into a very fulfilled life. So that is my mission and the purpose of what I do with everything, so much so that I named my company after that, and I published my first book under that title. So that is very important to me. And I just, so with my action plan though, it's funny because, and I think it's because I've been new to this community for 2.5 years, and I'm going to do a YouTube video on this, but I feel like there are seasons of saying yes to everything, but then there's seasons of saying no to almost everything. And going into 2025, I'm entering my era of saying no to more things that I'm saying yes to, so that I can hunker down and reach these big goals that I have. I feel like right now I'm very, you know how there's depth and there's breadth. And I feel right now I've had a lot of breadth, and like kind of widespread wings, if you will. But going into 2025 and probably for a few years, I really want to concentrate on having that depth. And the result of that depth will be me stepping in and being able to give like a mofo.
So your book sounds beautiful, by the way. And
Thank you.
that said, so what is that big goal? Can you share that with us?
Yes, yes. So my goal is that one of them is I want to annually, I want to be able to give away $250,000 to $500,000. And remember, I have 3 different organizations, but the one I'll tell you about, I want to become an earth angel for fur angels. And what that means is, probably most people that have an animal, your vet, they know you just as much as they know your animal, right? And so knowing that about vets, I want to go to local veterinarians and I want to just give them like a big old, I'm kind of exaggerating here when I'm talking, but give them a big old envelope of cash that they can, put, in the back room or whatever. I'm being a little silly with this, but I'm painting a picture, because obviously there'd be more safety than this, but but this big envelope of cash that they can keep in the back room, so that when little Bobby comes to the vet because his dog's been sick and they find out that that dog has cancer, but they found it early and they can treat that dog, but it's going to cost, $5,000, $10,000, $30,000, whatever it is. And that family, so many times they don't have the money. And so unfortunately, they make that very tough decision of putting that animal down. And I would love for that vet, because they know their families kind of, for the most part, and they're going to know those people that can afford things and who can't. And to say, you know what? We have some angel funds here. We have some money that can either pay for it or subsidize to a great extent what needs to be done for that animal. So that's one of my dreams.
Nice.
Thank you.
Scott, any other questions?
Just thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule and coming here and spending it with us. So we really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. Can I ask you guys a question? And I know it's out there, but why have you guys decided to do what you're doing specifically with this podcast?
Oh, because it's fun to travel down highways and it's fun to meet new and interesting people like yourself. We certainly enjoy it, and it's been a pleasure traveling down yours, but we're not through with you yet. We got other questions for you. Did you answer her question? I answered it. Why are
you? We started this because we want to find out how people heal other people. That was our basic premise. Curiosity about everything. People have so many different modalities. Most of them we hadn't even heard of before. And this gives us a chance to explore that and help others explore the same.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Now let's get back on the highway we're supposed to be on.
Okay.
We took a detour.
We took a detour. Now we're back on your highway, Connie. Question for you. How do our viewers get a hold of you?
Probably my website is the best way, and that is ConnieJoHolmes.com, ConnieJoHolmes, because on the footnote, I have where all of my social media channels are at. And on my homepage, I have the consultation call should anyone want to work with me, because I do help small businesses, because I'm certified to certify others in hypnosis. And so with that, I have a component of my training where I help you to start and grow your business. And I include a 12-month mentorship program. And so once in a while, I will put people who were not my students inside of that mentorship. But just like with my strategic planning class, there are a lot of things that I do to help new business owners, new solopreneurs. It's great that we got certified, right? That's wonderful. But okay, now what? So I really want to help you with that. Now what? But I also want to meet you where you are as well and not overwhelm anything. So all of that rattling to say, my website is the place where you can either contact me to, learn more or have a consultation call. But like I said, there's a footnote where all of my social media channels are at.
Now we noticed you said BU to be full, beautiful. Your beautiful book is your first book.
Yes.
Do you have another one? What's that all about?
I do. I have 3 other books. I don't have one at my desk right now. They're behind me over there. But so I came out with a collection of 3 books because I had so much content that I broke it into 3. Those books, they're titled Openness, a collection of perspectives to connect you to yourself. And what they're really great to serve as like a daily devotional, because they are just like a page and a half in a book that might talk about courage, that might talk about gratitude, different things like that. I have a story behind that if I can share. Do we have time?
Please share it. Yes.
So I wrote my first book, BU2BFULL. I wrote it in Richard Nongard's class, who's a fellow hypnotist, and it's called 12-Week Book. And so that's how I published my very first book. And then after I published it, I actually, in my head, I had an idea for a BU series. I wanted to be BU to be fearless and all these different things. And so I started to write those books, but nothing was flowing. So then I started to, even though I know not to do this, I started to beat myself up a little bit. And just because it wasn't flowing, so I decided I'm going to put it down. I'm going to walk away from it. So then I kind of was, after I let that sit idle for a little bit, then I was getting frustrated at myself because I wasn't writing every day. However, what I was doing, and this is going to sound like a dumb moment at the end, but when we're in the middle of things, sometimes we don't see it. What I was doing, I have a talent where I can look at a picture, whether it's one I took or someone else took, and whether it's a landscape picture, usually it's a landscape picture, and I'll look at it, and that picture tells me something. And so I had all these pictures that I took, and I was like, so I would post that on Facebook, and then I would just write a story based off of this picture. And I had been doing that for months. And then Randy Light, she's a fellow hypnotherapist and a coach and a trainer and all these things. We're friends on Facebook. And she reached out to me and she said, Connie, there's so much wisdom in what you're posting every day. You should publish a book. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my God, you are right. I should do this. So I did. But then I was cracking up at myself because I'm like, here I am beating myself up because I wasn't writing every day, yet I was writing every day. It just didn't come in the right, the method and the format that I thought it should. Here we go with shooting on ourselves. So that was quite a profound lesson to me. So of course, Randy is acknowledged in my book for giving me this idea. But I had so much content that when I took it to the formatter to lay it out, the book was like 650 pages or something crazy. It was like a textbook. And so then I was like, oh, that's too much. I just felt like maybe it was too much for someone to buy. They might be intimidated by it. So I actually had them break it into 3 sections. So I have collection 1, 2, and 3. So that's a long story for how I have my second series of books.
Nice, sweet. Okay,
Yeah.
so are there any more on the horizon?
Yes, I'm actually hopefully pretty darn soon going to be releasing another book, and this one I co-authored with 2 other people. It is a killer story. And I'm not going to give too much away, but it was a client of mine who came to me for a past life regression, and at the last minute she was going to give her session away, But then when I inquired about it, I was like, well, no, I can do both of you in one day. And so I did these 2 past life regression hypnosis sessions. And oh my God, we had such a profound moment that we can't not put it in writing for others to read and be in like, what, are you kidding me? And then also, I don't know, hopefully be inspired from. So that's why the 3 of us who had this experience together were writing this book, and hopefully it'll come out just shortly after the new year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the big question. What's your words of wisdom for our viewers?
You know what? I wish they were my own, but they're not, and that's okay. I heard this quote 100 years ago, and I love it, and I live my life by it. It's by Frank Scully. He's an author of, I don't even know what, but I think he's an author. It is called, it's not called, it is, why not go out on a limb? Isn't that where the fruit is? Isn't that genius?
Nice.
God, I love it. It just implies so much with that. Why not go out on a limb? Isn't that where the fruit is? And I wish I could say that was Connie Jo Holmes, but it's Frank Scully.
Nice. Scott, do you have anything you want to throw out there?
And so, what other words of wisdom that come from you this time that you'd like to share?
Thank
I'm
you.
trapping
Thank
you.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm thinking of my book. I have a few things, words of wisdom in there, but one thing I do write in my book is the importance of not comparing yourself, because I like to say comparison is the gateway to depression. And so therefore, that's not a gateway you want to be approaching. And I like to remind my clients, or when I do YouTube videos or whatever, that if we're ever poked by something, whether it's envy or jealousy, don't run away from it and don't make it make you hateful, but you're being poked for a reason. You're being poked because that's something that you desire, whether the whole thing or a part of it or whatever. And so allow that to speak to you and motivate you. And so turn that envy or jealousy into your own personal inspiration.
Great.
I like that.
Thank
Great.
you.
Nice. Anything else you want to add?
I guess I would just going on your theme, because I absolutely love it, this highway. And, there are so many people that we encounter in this world. And I know that there's so many people that I'm like, oh, I remember that person, but I don't talk to them anymore, but I remember their quote, or I just remember a moment that was shared with me. And so I guess I would like to say that those that are listening to this, if we never cross paths, or our crossing of paths is contained just to this podcast, I would like to hope that I gave you a very scenic and lovely path along our journey together, and one that will be memorable in some way, shape, or form.
Beautiful. Scott, you have anything you want to add?
Just have a great day.
And
Okay,
you guys as well.
Connie, it's been a pleasure traveling down your magical Psyche Highway. We certainly enjoyed having you on, and it's been fun. And for our viewers out there, we've definitely enjoyed having you here. If you like us, give us a thumbs up. If you think we're assholes, give us the thumbs down. We don't care. We're just glad you're here. We're glad you showed up. Share us, follow us, subscribe to our channel, and we hope to see you next week. Thanks for coming.
Wow, what a trip. Thanks for taking that journey with us today. Please like us, share us, and enlighten us with your views of the topics we drove into today. We appreciate you and love reading your comments. Thanks again, and we hope to see you back on the bus next week. That's right.